because we know Jennings will just keep batting and batting and batting as he did against Somerset last season. Made 300 plus. What was it, 312, something like that?
Brooks has got a field that signals an intention to bowl very straight, i.e. there's just a 4-man on the offside, a slip and a ring of 3. So he doesn't want to give them any width, but he's actually just bowling too straight, or just a bit leg side, in fact. And they're just picking him off at the moment. He's got 2 men at short mid-wicket. The idea is just to bowl dead straight and maybe get an LBW, maybe get one to keep low. Hasn't quite got the line right so far. He certainly doesn't want to give them any width. No one at 3rd man.
Yeah, plenty of gaps.
The sort of line he's looking for. Sort of hitting the stumps, middle and leg, middle.
Nothing on the boundary for here, so as you say, he hasn't got any room to stray too far onto the offside, because anything it gets past the infield there will run away, assuming it's hit well enough. Margin for error very small.
My non-written rota has disappeared from my head. Just look, I can't remember where we are. I'm
using the feet there again.
Yeah, he just saw him, and I think Brooks just saw him coming down and had time to adjust his length, but he's not uncomfortable when that happens, Jennings. He just decides to defend it. Most batsmen, when they come down to pitch, they think, well, I'm going to hit this one. No, but Jennings has come down and just gently defended the ball right in the meat of the bat, time and time again. Now, more interestingly, it's the Wells-Leach duel.
Which has been quite fun to watch. I think as a neutral or as a Lancashire fan, you'd be enjoying it very much. I think Somerset fans
even
might
as
not
a Somerset fan, I'm quite enjoying it because of the kind of intrigue of whether Wells can continue this domination. When he defends, as we said, when he defends, he looks fallible. But when he's attacked, he's done it unerringly. There's still no one right back behind the bowler's arm. Oh, and he's hitting for 4 again. Beautiful shot all along the ground. He's got to the pitch, and there's a big gap to the left of Gregory at mid-off, and he's found it. Hit it very straight. It just didn't look like a risk at all. It was terrific batting.
Yeah, this has been very enjoyable to watch.
Sometimes maybe he's just a bit predictable, maybe. That's one thing that Wells has not had to worry about too much change of pace from Leach.
Just sort of guiding that one, wasn't he? No power behind the shot. Brings Jennings on to strike. He's on 42. Partnership 128. Very useful.
Yeah, and that's typical of how Jennings has played against Leach. He's got off strike very easily. Probably not faced many deliveries from Leach. Not sure he's hit him for any 4s, but he's just come down the pitch, hit him towards mid-on, taken an easy single. Well, he's showing aggressive intent, and as well, this time he hits the field. Gregory is on red alert. He's come a bit straighter at mid-off.
He's got no one around him, Gregory. He's really, he's got to be on red alert, because anything else, if he's not, he'll just run away for another unconvincing defensive shot, certainly from where we're sitting. I expect he'd tell me that he got his bat right behind it, hit the middle. But it certainly doesn't look textbook. Down the ground, in the air.
6 or 4.
All the way,
It's
no,
4.
not quite 4.
But you know, it's terrific play from Wells. To the extent that you know, you're starting to think, well, Leach is going to have to either fiddle with his field again. Every time he plays that attacking shot, he connects, and that's 2 more boundaries there. Leach's options: you can fiddle with your field, more protection behind him, perhaps. Makes it easy to get singles here and there. The other option he's got that he's reluctant to pursue is to come around the wicket and bring LBW into the frame, just bowl a little bit tighter to him, pitch on stumps and straighten. That's 4 more. It's almost mayhem out there at the moment. The only problem from Leach's point of view there, or one of the problems, is that it takes the rough out. There is a bit of rough out there, and he's got some to turn in that first over. Do you know, it's quite possible if that ball hadn't turned in the first over, they would be playing in a far more conventional way against Leach. They saw the ball turn. Wells was in trouble. He thought, right, there's one way to combat this, with a bugle. That's 4 more. Really, it really is a leak at the moment. I mean, this is fine play from these 2 left-handers. They're dominating the attack. They can't see a way of getting the wicket. Brooks has not ever been a brilliant containing bowler. That's not really his nature.
No.
And at the moment, he's just given them a little bit of width, and they've pummeled the ball through the offside. There's no one at third man. They're wondering whether he's going to... No, there still isn't. Just waiting for him to come back into that offside ring.
I wonder if Abel might... Well, coming up to
Rue's coming up to the stumps. Trying to keep Jennings back, but I'm not sure Jennings is bothered either way.
I wonder if they think about Siddle sooner rather than later, just with his... containing. You're talking there about containing.
Well, he is the best container, but we're coming up to T2, and once you get to a certain age, I think you don't want to spend 5 or 10 minutes loosening up to bowl 2 or 3 overs. Once you've got loose,
that's it, mate.
In your late 30s, having gone through that rigmarole, you kind of want to bowl 6 or 7 overs and be done with it. I suspect. I mean, it's slightly different for a spinner, I suppose.
A burst of Siddle after.
So I think the ideal for Siddle, I mean, the situation is far from ideal. 143 for naught. It's swayed, hasn't it? This match can turn one way than the other. Batsman in control at the moment.
Well, the lead now is less than 300.
Yeah. Sort of where he wants to be bowling. He wants to bowl straight, and particularly now with Rue up at the wicket, it kind of brings LBW back in. He can't come down the pitch so far, but he doesn't look like missing the ball, Jennings.
I'm trying to think of how many chances there have been. A couple of LBW shots, but none really.
Yeah, there have been a couple of LBW shots. There's been
a top edge,
Leach's first over. He just went over the stumps against Wells right at the start. My goodness me, he must wish he just clipped middle and leg instead of going over the top. There was a top edge sweep, but it didn't go anywhere near.
It wasn't near a fielder.
A fielder.
Other than that, it's been very solid from these 2, looking pretty good. I know what you were saying about when Wells is defending against Leach. It doesn't look great from a sort of aesthetic point of view, and perhaps it's a bit edgy, but
it's been effective actually. Since that first over. It's only in the first over where one ball went through the gate and went over middle and leg, I think, and then another one kind of squeezed towards the stumps but didn't hit it, and then that was the one maiden. After which, every time Wells has looked to attack him, he's done it quite brilliantly. He's hit him initially with a succession of reverse sweeps, 3 of them in a succession, 4, 4, 6. So Leach and Abel have protected that area. The response of Wells has been to hit straight, come down the pitch, use his feet, hit straight, either in the air or very effectively along the ground. And he's done that extraordinarily well. Now we've got a slight change in the field, a bit of withdrawal. There's just a one close fielder at the moment, and he's actually forward short leg. There's a long on now to protect a bit against the lofted drive. So
they haven't plugged the offside there, though. That's where a lot of the runs were coming, down the ground on the offside.
He just gets away, not elegantly, but a bit of inside edge, and he's off and running. And let's see whether they keep the same field for Jennings, who is not hitting for boundaries, but has picked up ones comfortably. Just trying to get the mid-on up. Come on. Always look at the captain. The slip comes in.
Yeah.
He's just manoeuvring. I think it's Casey Aldridge there, who's still quite deep at mid-on. That's a good shot, that is. That's almost going to go for 4, and he's only flicked it with 2. But effortless use of feet, and then just a little turn of the wrist at the end, and he's timed it beautifully. Frustrating times for Leach. As they say, without bowling rubbish, he hasn't. But he's not fought a full toss or a long up. He's been outmanoeuvred quite brilliantly. He's had enough of this. He's going to try and bottle them up now. So another man coming on the leg side to try and stop Jennings just gliding down the pitch and flicking the ball into the gaps for runs. There's no slip, but there is a man that's sort of short third man. That's Tom Abel. False shot though, a very rare one.
Jennings is on 49, so in a way it's been quite slow going, really. 104. It's
all right, no, just
not
under
bad.
50.
It's not, it's not going to make Brendan McCullum take too much note, I don't think.
Well, that's beautifully.
50?
Yeah, that's 50. I don't think they won the second one. I mean, I don't think even Brendan McCullum, I think he takes notice also of the runs column as well as the strike rate column.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. You can be out for 6 from one ball and, you know.
Yeah, you're in.
That's it, yeah, that's good enough. Yeah,
I don't think you can get out for 6 from one ball unless you run out.
No, well, that's true. That's true. 6 from 2. I have to go 6. Well, yeah, run out of the non-strikers then might do it. Or
yes,
or a red inker maybe.
Yeah, yes. Run out backing up.
Yeah, yeah.
For 6. Yeah.
Yeah, hard to say it's your fault if you're run out. Another Leach over goes by. His figures now look 8 overs, 1 maiden for 53 runs and no wickets.
Well, he's understandably, having sort of kept the field up in various places, he's reverted to a more pragmatic approach. He's got a lot of protection now. And it is getting quite close to tee as well. So the boundary count was stemmed, but they picked off singles there. Jack Brooks, he's not found a pitch to his liking, really. None of the seamers have. None of the Somerset bowlers have. No. First over, we saw some turn from Leach, but I haven't seen that much since, and it's partly because they've been so dominant. for the batsman. And just look at this field, it tells you that they don't think conventional dismissal is likely. The outside edge is the conventional dismissal. There's only one man in the slip cordon at the moment. He's trying to bowl at the stump straight, looking for LBW perhaps. It's well taken by Roo.
Diving. There's just what you're saying about the seamers finding a pitch to their liking. There's only been one seamer on this pitch who's
yeah,
really shown.
And yeah, well, there you go.
That's
Jimmy Anderson.
Jimmy Anderson, who in their first innings took 5 for 76.
We'll be saying I told you it was flat. That's a good time. That must have timed that well, because it wasn't far from the man at square leg, but he could get nowhere near it. That's a terrific piece of timing. It looks so easy for both this pair, really. Yeah, quick handshake, celebrate 150.
Good going. When do we need to start looking at record partnerships? Because, well, I guess if Jennings made 312, although that wasn't within an opening partnership, mostly last time. But at the moment, on what we've seen so far, no reason really to think that Somerset are on the verge of something really.
There's still plenty of time left in this match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, as you said, it's one wicket. Getting a new batter out there actually can change things. It takes time to settle.
That's true. They've got to find the wicket though.
Yep. Brooks into his about to finish his 8th over. It's the end of another one. Couple to go before the tea break. So I expect we'll see one from Leach and one more from Brooks.
I think so. As I say, in these conditions, when it is chilly out there, it's a bit much to ask someone to come and bowl
Just the
one over. Because if you're in the field, you're not loose. Looking at Peter Siddle, he's just standing in front of us, I think.
Yeah.
You know, he's 38. He's used to temperatures of about 38 in Adelaide. To come on and give it all
These must
for
be
6 balls.
These must be the hard months, mustn't it, for Australians to think, right, it does get better, gets warmer.
Yeah.
This isn't the height of summer yet. Stick with it.
That's going to test Lewis Gregory. He's done the business. It's a firm, educated push that allows Jennings to pick up to judge the length. He's a good player of spin, and he judges the length, and he doesn't try to hit it too hard. He's just milked Jennings, Leach, whereas Wells has assaulted him.
Yeah, it's been destructive, isn't it, from Wells against Leach. It's been good fun, except maybe for Jack Leach.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't have found it too much fun. But great news for Lancashire fans watching this. Goes backwards.
The point is for Leach is that he has not bowled rubbish. You know, he hasn't bowled a rank delivery at all. But so I hasten to add, as an old member of the Finger Spinners Union, it was, as I used to say to despairing captains, all right when it left my hand.
I said they're not worried about what left your hand. They're worried about what the batter does.
Well,
with
that is a one response.
Was that Graham Rose used to say that? Yeah. Brian Rose used to say that to you, did he? And
No, I told him it was all right.
you told him.
Yeah, but I don't care. He said, look where it is now.
Yeah, go and pick
And
it out
since
of the
they
river.
built that Ian Botham stand, you see, it's harder to change the ball.
Yeah.
It's protecting the river.
Yeah. Last ball of this over. Last ball of Leach before tea. Just defended by Jennings. Well, we saw a couple of wicketless sessions yesterday, and
We've got
unless
another one
something
now.
happens, yeah, in this last over, and this will be another one. So
3 wicketless sessions in April.
out of 5 sessions we'd have had so far.
Yeah. Some sort of record.
Yeah, so what did we see? We saw 6 in the morning and none in the afternoon. That was the tail, though, I guess, in the early morning in April. Cloudy skies.
Yeah.
Jimmy
Well, that certainly
Anderson
applied
bowling.
yesterday morning. I'm not sure it was that venomous
No, it
this
wasn't
morning.
too
but although, once again, Anderson found a little bit of zip, didn't he?
Well, that's why it's so
But,
useful for Lancashire and especially for England as well.
Yeah.
When it's not doing much, you can find something. Jack Brooks is in then. Oh, gone. There's a wicket.
Well, there you are.
Just
The old
palmed it
leg trap.
Straight to the leg side. And it's a sharp catch, actually. It went quickly.
And they're going to have tea.
And that will be tea. Well, there we go. Another wicketless session
Yeah,
finishes.
well, that's right. There's only been 2 in this match, actually.
There we go, yeah. Only the 2.
Well, it's
so,
a huge bonus. I mean, it was an innocuous delivery. And Wells, who'd played so well, it's probably a question of, it's just last over 40. I won't pull that ball. I'll just glide it round there.
And actually, you're right. If he'd sort of gone for it,
Yeah,
like he
yeah,
might
it
have
wasn't-
done
it was
few
a-
overs
it was
before.
a innocuous delivery, just short of a length, round about a leg stump. I think he probably timed it quite well, because he's timed everything well when he's. But it went straight from the middle of the bat to the man at leg gully. So that is a huge relief.
Oh, I tell you what, it's a bonus. Really,
Well,
isn't
it will
for
also.
Somerset?
I mean, I don't know what they'll do after tea, but now it gives an opportunity. I know Leach has gone for a few, but they've all. Oh, he's gone for 55, of which I haven't got the precise stats here. 45 probably have gone to Wales through boundaries. Well, he's out the way now, and he'll have at least have a right-hander, I think, coming in next. Who's coming in?
Yeah,
next?
Josh Bohannon probably next.
Yeah, who's obviously a top player, but it'll be a more interesting little duel, or a relief to Leach to have a right-handed ball. So I suspect if I were able, given that nothing else is happening, I would keep Leach going after tea and see if he can get into a groove against a new batsman. But it looked, it's don't care how you get him. It's a real bonus, that, because it's looked such a barren pursuit. Bowling.
Luke Wells will feel gutted. Only 82, and he was barely given a chance in that. Rocketed
No.
him. One innings, one session. Sorry, he's got 82 of the runs out of 154. Yeah, it was a run-filled session there, as we said, largely from Leach's bowling. Not that he's done too much wrong, but what a bonus and what a blow for Lancashire. So 154 for 1. We'll have 5 balls, the remaining 5 balls of that over after tea, and we'll see how the evening session plans out. As we say, we'll see a new batter at the crease straight after the break, and we'll catch you in around about 20 minutes.
There's a wow factor here at King's, and every child has opportunities to find out their passions and interests that they didn't even know they had. Whether you are sporty or musical or into drama, the facilities on offer across the schools are incredible. We have a specialist cricket centre, a new golf facility, sparkling cookery schools, modern DT centres. There really is space to do it all.
All the action on the field are available at no extra cost to you. And speaking of the live stream, if you fancy listening to Somerset and TMS legend Vic Marks, alongside a stellar commentary lineup, they'll be describing the action to you today. And you can head to reception in the Marcus Trescothick Pavilion and pick up an in-ear radio set for just £12. The device, in association with Virtue Motors, will last you all season, and the live welcome back our match umpires, Richard Illingworth and Russ Warren. Please welcome back for the evening session, led out by Captain Tom Abel, Somerset.
Welcome back to the county ground at Taunton. 154 for 1 the score. That bonus wicket for Somerset right at the end for the team who really didn't look like it was going to happen for such a long time. Right into the last over, the first ball of the last over, finally, Luke Wells made a mistake and gave Cameron Bancroft not an easy chance, but a chance that was well taken. And we'll remain to see the remaining 5 balls of Jack Brooks over. It will be Josh Bohannon, as expected, to join Keaton Jennings at the crease. He's on 57. Bohannon, obviously, yet to get going. Sam Dalling is alongside me. And Sam, you were watching towards the end from the back of the commentary box here, and that really was a gift for Somerset.
Yeah, it was. And it's how people are going to get out, I think. Either people are going to give their wicket away with slightly, I want to call it sloppiness. It probably was sloppiness. It was a case, as I think either you or Vic said, of just approaching tee. If that ball comes 5 overs before tee, it's going away to the boundary. But it was just trying to be it's an example of going into your shell a little bit. Somerset will be delighted with that. Luke Wells won't be. I think the way he batted deserved the 100, really. But the quality keeps coming. You know, Josh Bohannon comes out. He was, a year or so ago, it was him and Harry Brook, neck and neck, next cab off the rank. There are plenty of people, very good judges of cricketers. I think Bohannon is a fine, fine player. Struggled a little bit, probably the summer where he wanted to push on. 805 runs he made last summer, although the bulk of them, almost half of them, came in just 3 innings.
It's coming over the wicket here, Brooks, to Bohannon. Oh, it's down the leg side. But he's shown some real quality, even this season. What did he score in the last game? Was it? Or was it the one against Essex that Lancashire played?
Well, he's got 100 already.
Yeah.
108 he made against. I thought it was Lancashire, but I might be wrong. No, not Lancashire. It wouldn't be against Lancashire. I'm definitely wrong with that. Yeah, it was the Surrey game, the first game of the season.
Yeah.
Completely lost my train of thought there.
So Somerset now with this opening, want to take it quickly, don't they? 154 for 1. You don't want another big partnership here. The Somerset, in case you were unable to join us earlier on today, they made 441. So a good total on what is a pretty good pitch, or a very good pitch, to be honest, for batting. Not seen the ball do an awful lot today, not since Somerset started bowling. James Anderson was getting a little bit of nip movement, but what more do you expect really from one of the greatest fast bowlers, if not the greatest fast bowler of all time, certainly in Test cricket. Brooks in again, and just pushed into the onside there. Sun comes out. We've been very lucky with the weather. I should mention that. This was unexpected that we'd get this far without delay, and actually at the moment looking pretty good for it to continue.
Well, I always think, you know, there's often when it says 60-70% chance of rain all day, that means there's a 30-40% chance of rain.
Oh, you're a glass
half
full,
very
aren't
much.
you?
Well, not quite half, but
40% full. So yeah, even when it's over half empty, you're still thinking it's 30-40% full.
I'm happy to go for those 30-40%. I think that would fit into the Brendan McCullum, Ben Stokes methodology as well.
At what percentage would you say it stops being?
About 3?
3%.
For them?
Yeah.
For me, I'd draw the line at 5, but...
What are you talking about? It's empty. It's 5% full.
Yeah, there's a 5% chance it won't happen.
Well, I like that. I think that's a good mentality. Positivity. And that's what you've been like with the weather today. Anyway, it has been nice, and Somerset yesterday under very nice blue skies made the majority of their 441 runs, and Jack Leach will continue from the River End.
It's interesting this, isn't it, because we saw before tea Leach get taken down really a little bit by Wells, so he's gone for 55 runs, Leach, of which 44 of them came to Luke Wells. So that, would they have kept Leach on? I don't know, we will never know. Had Wells not got out, might they have tried something a little bit different? Perhaps not, because it's not doing an awful lot for the seamers, but it's not a question we need to ask anymore, really. Jennings uses his feet, and he's done that an awful lot in this innings, Jennings. It's been typical him, very, very patient. He just looks completely at ease when he's at the crease. He is one of those stereotypical could bat all day. And by doing so, he will score runs. But you don't get the impression he's that flustered if he doesn't.
No, there's no hurry, is there? There's no... With Wells, you did see that, especially when he was facing Leach, sort of trying to take the chance to score 4s and even 6s as well, whereas Jennings is pretty happy here. Taking 1s and 2s. A single there, so it'll bring Bohannon on to face Leach for the first time.
Yeah, Bohannon taking leg stump by the looks of things to the slow left arm at Leach. With one slip, short cover, deep square leg is coming up now. Difficult day for Josh Bohannon. We mentioned a little bit earlier that sadly one of his close friends passed away, and it's the funeral today. He couldn't be there because he is playing in this game, but the Lancashire players have all taken to the field in black armbands, so our thoughts are with Josh Bohannon and his friends and their family today.
It'll be interesting to see Leach against the right-hander now, having bowled the two left-handers up till this point. I think Leach will be quite pleased as well.
Sweep straight away, Bohannon, and he's going to be, well, actually, that's very good work from Jack Brooks, I think it is.
Yep.
Brought up from deep square leg to a kind of backward square leg, not quite a 45, had to scramble across to his right, a little bit of tumbling. Saves a boundary there, because it's a short boundary down towards, well, effectively where tractor stands.
That's what we're calling it now.
Cuts that one away nicely, but it's straight at a fielder. Leach finishes head on hands. He played that very late, Bohannon.
The tractor area.
The tractor area.
Yeah.
Just leaning on that roller, no doubt. They should really have a tractor in for him to lean on.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
Slog sweep, and that's gone up in the air, and it's sailed over the ropes for 6. So Josh Bohannon off the mark with a slog sweep 6. Why not? The game has changed. The game has changed. I keep calling you Harry. I've got to stop this. Charlie.
Thanks, Vic. Actually, no, that's
Oh,
too much
yeah,
for a compliment.
fine,
No, I'll
fine.
take that back. I'll take it back. Yeah, it's, well, that's one way to do it. And it is a fairly short boundary out there, so if you connect well enough, you'll be able to do it.
I just wonder if it's a ploy, well, it obviously is a ploy, to almost take Leach out of the attack. And how long can Abel and Leach keep him going if he's leaking runs? And it's not that he's bowling badly, but there's just not a lot in the pitch. And Abel's got this conundrum. They'll know that he himself isn't fit to bowl. Tom Lammonby clearly isn't. So it's kind of like, well, let's work the seamers into the ground then.
Tough when you're missing 2 of them. Josh Davey and Craig Everton missing with injuries. So you've got Brooks, Siddle. You've got Gregory, who is fit at the moment, but does injure. Has that gone all? No, that's well stopped. Wow. I actually thought there was no chance he could get onto that. It moved so quickly, but it was well stopped. Is that Dixon? Who is that? Or is that Bancroft out there?
They're similar in stature. Bancroft's always got sunglasses on.
Well, that's where Bancroft was when he took the catch, so I'm assuming it's still him there. As that's driven. Tom Abel takes that one, and there's no run added on. Well, I think looking around the country, they've had some real problems with the weather.
It's amazing how lucky we've been, isn't it?
Really have been. They are now all playing in the first division. They're on at Canterbury as well. Essex 238 for 1. As Brooks is in again.
Going to correct you there, Charlie.
Are they not at Canterbury?
239 for 1.
Oh, 239 I was going to say, surely they're at Canterbury this time of the season. They're not already at an outground.
It's on Wesley or
Beckenham or somewhere. Gosh, yeah. Going well.
Canterbury in trouble this year, I think.
Yeah. Comes Brooks around the wicket. Again, another good sprawling save.
A lot of pace off from Brooks, isn't there?
Yep.
They've clearly decided that if you're just going to bowl seam up, line and length, it's not really going to trouble these batters. Brooks now is having a chat. So I think Bancroft, but he's taking the pace off, rolling the wrists.
Just looking at the scores around the ground, they have had no play at Cardiff because of rain.
Yeah, both Division 2 games are off, aren't they? Completely for the day. Gloucestershire will be frustrated because they're in a strong position.
They are playing at Sussex, but yeah, the other two,
Oh,
Glamorgan and Worcestershire, both off. Oh, he's got a very thin edge on that, and it's just, I'm going to go all the way for 4. Rue had tried to anticipate it.
No, it can't. I was wondering if it's preempted.
You think?
The way Brooks just look, you can't preempt. No, sorry, you can't preempt it down. You can leg side stumpings. You can preempt, but I'm not sure. I think he was perhaps just. It's one of those where it either sticks or it doesn't for the keeper. He happens to be in the right place.
Yeah. He could see where it was going, trying to get there. It's good work from Rue, but unable to do anything about that one. This will be the last ball of this over from Jack Brooks. And again, leg sidey. And I'll just pick up a single this time. Hampshire have declared at 482 for 8. And Northants are 3 for 1.
What did Vince get in the end there then?
Vince made 186 before he was caught Tremaine bowled Berg, who will be his former teammate from Hampshire, Gareth Berg.
Bit of cricket going on. I used to play a lot of cricket in the car parks myself. The car parks have changed. I'm a bit disappointed really. There's too many stands now, but car park cricket was very much.
Look at this. It was great action. Oh, just defending there. Oh, hold the pose. That's it.
A little bit like Jack Leach with hair there.
Jack Leach with hair.
Mm.
Have to have another look. The bowler or the batter?
I think Jack Leach heard that. He must have the earpiece on. That's why he had that slightly false start.
Yeah.
Leach just
Sorry, mate. Carry on.
Sawdust getting in the way of Jack Leach's run up, marking it out again. Jennings then is 63.
I want to see some more of this car park cricket. Come on, Jack. Bowl your ball.
Did we have you and Everett on the car park cricket last season?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we're playing a bit of it and commentating on it. Good fun. You saw some great wickets, some great catches being taken in the car parks. Leach over the wicket.
Uses his feet there, Jennings.
They haven't run. And nothing over there. 166 for 1. Jennings 63. And Nottinghamshire, just to quickly continue our look against Middlesex at Lords, 362 for 8. Middlesex really struggling in their first couple of fixtures. Takes an inside edge, no run. New scoreboard here as well, if you haven't been to the county ground yet this year. Big and clear. Some good graphics on it. Which is good news for spectators.
This is your first day at the Cooper Associates County Ground
It is, yeah.
this season? It's always a joy, isn't it, walking to the gates for the first time?
Yeah, really lovely. I mean, I have been here, but not while there's cricket on. So I've done some other bits, press day and various other things as well. But first time watching cricket here in the flesh this summer. Been keeping an eye on the stream. Watching a bit. Actually, I was watching some in Spain in the first game of the year. I was on holiday. I was watching you and the team. Mainly the cricket, but you were on it as well.
Incidental, because it was incidental.
That was nice. That felt like cricket weather down in Spain when I was watching the live stream. It's about 25 degrees, lovely. Oh, the tea boys arrived.
Thank you very much. Spencer Bishop has just brought me a cup of tea. As Keaton Jennings goes down the track and hits over the top. Going to be 4. It wasn't the prettiest of strokes, but he got just about to the pitch of the ball. A couple of bounces.
What have you got over Spencer Bishop? He got you your lunch specifically for you. Now he's brought you a cup of tea with 3 packets of sugar.
But I'm a bit upset with Everett, really, because we said we were going to get our own tea, but there was none available during the tea interval. So we had to come back in here. I said, Harry, would you mind, if pretty please, could you bring me a cup of tea? He sent Bishop in with it.
What's Harry got over Spencer? That's what I need to know. Anyway, Sam's got a cup of tea now, so he'll be happy. It's just an ordinary tea, is it? Nothing special?
Well, I made the mistake of putting Earl Grey in accidentally earlier, which I was fine with. I really enjoyed it, but didn't expect it. It was just in the normal box of tea bags.
Whoops. I love an Earl Grey. Over winter, I started using loose leaf.
Earl Grey, or?
Yeah, actually.
So, the Earl Grey is from Northumberland, but actually, so he has an estate up there. He's not alive anymore, but he has this estate, but they don't actually get any money from it. I don't think he either patented or trademarked or whatever you do to tea. So actually, they make their own Earl Grey, but it's not to the the beneficiaries of the Earl Grey tea are not the Grey family.
Wow.
Anymore. That's the kind of thing you get when you tune into the Somerset live stream on day 2.
What a travesty. It's Jack Brooks. Preparing to bowl his 11th over. So fair old shift he's been putting in already today. Since, well, he's already batted a bit as well. Good old thrash around with it, as he normally does. Earlier on, he made 19 from 21 balls, including 3 fours. Coming in at number 11 is pretty useful, isn't it? 19 runs. Jack Leach at number 9 made 40. He had 17 runs from Siddle. That was a really useful three innings there from the 9, 10 and 11. If you headed off early for your tea break, because it did take a while getting to it, and you missed the wicket of Luke Wells, real bonus wicket, and not much of a delivery. Wasn't that threatening, just nicely directed towards the fielder at sort of backwards of square leg, fairly close. Which was a bonus. He was the one who was going really quickly as well. Strike rate around 75, 13 fours, 3 sixes. It was a great innings while it lasted. Good fun to watch. In particular, his duel with Jack Leach, which I think it's fair to say he came out on top of that, Luke Wells. Very much so.
Catcher goes in at short cover in the eye line of Josh Bohannon. Is that Casey? I think. No,
I think that might be Bancroft.
Right there is Cameron Bancroft. I'd be interested to know Lancashire fans' views and Somerset fans' views on Jennings, because he started the season where he left off, which was scoring a lot of runs, and that recall was on the Test Tour of Pakistan, wasn't on the Tour of New Zealand, and he's gone
Nice drive, well fielded.
76 against Surrey up at Old Trafford, 96 against Essex last week. He's got 67 here. But is he even in the England conversation at the moment? And it's Duckett and Crawley are the incumbents. Duckett's definitely going to play. I think Crawley probably will. Then you have people like Lees, Hamid. Like, how are we beyond the days where pure weight of runs gets him back in the conversation?
Well, we were talking very briefly about this with Vic saying, you know, the strike rate is something which really is considered probably these days, isn't it? Although it won't just be on strike rate. But actually, that's something that's really going to be looked at. You won't just, you know, if you're scoring bucket loads of runs, might not be enough.
And Vic and I were discussing earlier, and Vic made the point that his average against spin is much better than his average against seam. We talked about it in the subcontinent here, but actually, I'd had a look previously, and the average is just 16.65 against seam bowling, which is effectively not good enough in Test match cricket. And yes, that's a few years ago, and I think he was due to come back. He was going to go on that Sri Lanka tour. Do you remember the one at the start of COVID where the chap was stuck out there? The DJ was stuck out there. Harry Everett, there he is. He's got an urn full of tea. He's brought an urn in. Yeah, I'll have a little top up, Harry, actually, if you've got...
He's brought a whole box of Twinings.
There's Harry Everett with his box of Twinings. See, we put him to good use, Harry Everett. I think I'm going to draw the attention, though, to he was in the paper, the Bridgewater Mercury is Wemden Cricket Club's new signing, yet that is not what it says on his top.
You made the papers as being a new signing, did you, Harry? That rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
Jack Leach to continue. The Bahanan, who's defending stoically back to him. Well, I think basically what happened is Harry was in Richard Walsh's ear until he couldn't. The only way to get rid of him was basically to write an article, put it in the paper.
Yeah.
Lovely photo, though, of you, Harry, in there.
Yeah, really nice.
Cut away by Bahanan, but straight to cover. I think what we should do, though, in fairness to Wemden, is send them that footage we had of you last season batting in the nets.
Yeah, that would be fair.
Because actually, if they want to see the true Harry Everett, maybe we'll get that footage. We'll definitely get it up at some point this season.
Was that photo of you? That wasn't like in the old days where they used to have to pose sort of standing still with the ball in their hand. It wasn't one of those, was it?
It wouldn't be that ugly.
Deft from Bahanan, but he can't quite get it away to Leach. He's had that one big shot against him. And there's a few. There's that second big shot. So he's got that one away, and there's a couple of people in the front row of the Somerset stand who, fair play to them, because I'd have done exactly the same.
Yep.
Rather than standing there and waiting for it to try to catch, they just hit the deck straight away. I mean, they'll have gone from having quite kind of serene heart rates to suddenly the adrenaline will be pumping. Thanks very much.
I would really love to see a replay of that if we've got it. That was some dive out of the way. One guy ended up sort of fully horizontal on the chairs there. Oh, here we go. Did we get it on camera? Here we go. Look at that! Look, just disappear behind the advert. Brilliant stuff.
Virtu Motors will be happy with that. I wonder if they've got the earphones in as well. That'd be brilliant.
Oh, if you've just dived out of the way of the ball, you've got the earphones in. Could you give a little wave? Oh, I thought that was going to be it then. They just lifted up their arms, but I don't think it was for us.
Nice looking shot from Bahanan. Just getting the one there. There's a fielder patrolling outside the Andy Caddick Pavilion. Yeah, a few Lancashire fans coming back on the Jennings point. There's a fair few people suggesting and agreeing that Crawley, well, not agreeing, I didn't say it, that Crawley shouldn't be playing, but Jennings is near the front in some people's opinions. I can see why. Pure weight of runs, I can absolutely see why. And
Yeah.
Roberts, don't know what else. Don't know what more Jennings needs to do to get rid of Crawley. Averaged 76 last season.
Yeah, that's. I mean, helped by 312 against Somerset or whatever it was, something in the 300s. But yes, I agree. On runs, it's hard to ignore, isn't it? But they like Crawley. They like what he does when he does it. The problem is he doesn't do it often enough for the fans. It's a nutmeg there, I think.
But they've said quite openly that If Crawley comes off 1 in 10, 1 in 15, 1 in 20, they would rather have that. They said words to that effect, basically. We would rather have someone capable of winning one game in a dozen than someone who gets 30 on the regular. Rightly or wrongly? End of the over then. 179 for 1. Lancashire going along nicely in reply. Just by way of reminder, Somerset made 441 in their first innings. Closed. Well, exactly. It was on the stroke of lunch, I think, 12:57. So as not to mess with the scorer's books. We've kept to our timings. We were pretty good on timings yesterday, actually, as well. It was remarkable that we finished by 6:15.
Well, it's turned into a pretty nice day. Blue sky all around as we look up. The quantocks have become far more visible. Quite hazy, quite cloudy before, but it looks, from our position here, it looks summery there. However, I did pop outside in the tea break, and it's chilly. It is proper chilly. So well done, everyone who's in the stands today. Wrapped up warm. Very impressed.
I'm just reading a message. Harry, in fairness, was saying to him that actually there were no tea materials, so Spence sorted it out, and he was very keen to deliver himself. Krieg, straight in. Best remember my omelette tomorrow, Spence. Spence's reply suggests that he hadn't remembered it, but has now. A decent crowd in today, actually. Not quite as good as yesterday, but that's to be expected, given it's not quite as warm. But there was almost a couple of thousand in yesterday. I think the official attendance was 1,992. If you count us up here, there's over 2,000 in. And I just think some of the crowds have been brilliant. There was a decent crowd in last week at Trent Bridge. I saw the Grumbler, isn't it, on Twitter? He posted. Did you see the photo last week at it was Lancashire's game actually with Essex at Chelmsford, where he said, "Oh yeah, one man and his dog," and there was like it was basically full at Chelmsford. A couple of thousand people in it. He's written about it. It's a really good newsletter. He kind of brings together all like the best of county championship news that week. Oh, let me remember what it's called.
Brooks in, pulled, and will be stopped right on the boundary.
If you just Google county cricket newsletter, I'm pretty sure it's the top hit. It's excellent. It drops every week, and it just interviews, comment pieces from all the papers, all the news. It's just brilliant that he puts it together. It's a bit of a labour of love. He's been doing it a couple of years now.
The Grumblers County Cricket Newsletter.
That's the one. I would urge you to subscribe to that, Charlie.
And then I shall.
There you go, Grumbler. You've got one more subscriber.
Is it you? Are you the Grumbler?
I'm not the Grumbler, no. I do as much as I can, Charlie, but not everything.
Oh, he's asking me for money now.
No, I don't think that's mandatory.
No, I've just bypassed the payment. As I said earlier, I'm pretty tight, so.
It's a Patreon style thing, I think. It's probably a fair labour of love. You've got some good patrons in there as well. See the cricket journalists do it. I need to do it myself, actually, and I will do that. It's on my list.
What's that?
To be a patron, to buy the Grumbler a coffee, basically. That's how these things work these days, isn't it? Podcasts and stuff like that.
Is there an edge? No, what a ball. That's bounced and carried. Not seen one do that too much from Jack Brooks.
Big grin on his face. What's happened there?
Yeah.
Just lifted. That's what happens when Jack Brooks bends his back. Seen lots of cutters, lots of rolled wrist balls. That one just back of a length.
Oof. Ooh. Well, that's not far away from taking the edge of Jennings. But I beg your pardon, that was Bohannon there, wasn't it? But he survives. Bohannon's on 15, Jennings on 70. It's 182 for 1. We've got 26 overs remaining in the day.
Casey Aldridge then is going to come back into the attack. Jack Leach taken out of it. If you look at Jack Leach's figures, you'd think he didn't bowl that well, but I don't think he bowled badly. he actually 12 overs not for 74. It doesn't look great, but Luke Wells went after him. And there were not chances, but the ball was turning, and Wells just basically knew he couldn't try and defend in the orthodox fashion. Aldridge just going through the final throws of his warm-up. Looks like we might have a double change as well. Who's that warming up? Is it Gregory at mid-off?
Yes, yes. It's Lewis Gregory. But Aldridge first, who's having that one defended back at him.
Is it Gregory or is it Siddle? Siddle's only bowled 5 overs so far. I think it is Gregory, isn't it?
It's Gregory, yeah.
Well, you can tell it's Gregory
Siddle's down
actually
here.
by the well, you can tell it's Gregory because Siddle's down here, but also by the grass marks because he was the one at mid-off, the lone man on that side of the pitch as Luke Wells was going down the trek and smashing Jack Leach down there, diving away, Lewis Gregory.
Yeah. He was quite lonely by himself there. Massive gaps around him that was being targeted.
Slightly odd-looking shot
Yeah.
there from Jennings. Wasn't sure if he wanted to be on the back or the front foot.
Sort of half cut, half drive, wasn't it? Not really anything. Practiced as a cut shot. Well, that wasn't what it looked like when it actually happened.
Caused stirred a bit of debate, this Jennings or, well, not Jennings or anyone really, in the YouTube comments.
Oh, nice stop. Diving full length, manages to get a hand to it.
Tom Abel, one of the better fielders on the circuit. Some would say he is the best. Tom Abel wouldn't say he's the best because that's the level of humility he shows.
Yeah. Yeah, he wouldn't consider himself anywhere near it, would he? But actually, when you watch him, when you see the effort that he puts into every single thing, the speed he's got across the field as well when he's chasing after balls is just...
Aldridge isn't quite right here. Oh, he's gone in the hamstring by the looks of things.
This is the last thing Somerset need. He's down. Oh, this does not look good.
Well, he spent...
cramp. Could be cramp. As Bohannon straight away is lifting up his legs to help him out. It was nice.
Well, hopefully it is because he spent the early parts of this over, after every ball, he's been kind of lifting those knees up really high. So he's clearly not feeling quite right, not loosened up yet. So hopefully it's just a bit of cramp kicking in. I mean, it's not nice to see him in pain, but as opposed to what it could be, when he immediately grabbed that left hamstring, you just worried.
So I just watched it again. And when you see someone pull up with a hamstring, sort of they stutter a bit, don't they?
Yeah.
Whereas that he sort of stopped, and then I think it got worse, which makes me feel it was probably cramp. And then they instantly started lifting his legs. They still are actually lifting up his legs, which is stretching out that hamstring muscle. So I'm hoping it's just cramp, but
yeah, you can see cramp is it
real
can be
body.
absolutely agonising.
yeah.
Cramp as well, and he clearly wasn't loose. His body wasn't quite playing ball when he wanted to start this over. Lewis Gregory's got a big smile on his face, which suggests it probably is cramp because it's the kind of thing Lewis Gregory would just laugh at you about. In fact, a few of them are laughing. So hopefully he's all right. Siddle's having a good old joke with Gregory. The two senior pros are going, these youngsters these days, bowls 5 overs and he's on the floor.
The thing with his legs are so long.
That's why two of them together.
They can barely reach. Bohannon could barely reach the top of them. Bohannon's not very tall at all, is he?
Getting an energy drink down him as well, I
Yeah.
think, for that. I mean, we're laughing, Casey, but only because we're glad that you're okay. We
Yeah.
were initially very concerned. Now we're just taking the mick out of you.
You don't. Yeah, you very rarely see someone of Casey's age with the hamstring. Yeah, I know. Obviously, it happens, doesn't it? And it depends on all sorts of factors. But it's a rare. It's where as players get a little bit older, you start to see that becoming more of an issue. So it makes me think again. Yeah, it looks very much like it's going to be a cramp injury. Might be here a little while because he's still having those legs stretched back.
There you go. There's a story for Casey Aldridge to tell. Well, I was a little bit injured. I had a bit of cramp, so Peter Siddle came on to finish my over for me.
Yeah, painful business. Well, they've got both legs up, so that unless they've both gone at the same time, that'd be quite a painful thing. No wonder he collapsed to the floor.
I just wonder how much he's bowled. We talked about bowlers not having much of a pre-season. I'll go and have a look at the second team scores. I was looking. He played the pre-season game against Glamorgan, but only bowled 6 overs in each innings. Let me have a look at the second team scorecards from the last couple of
He's
weeks.
on his feet. He's walking off, and it looks like one of his legs, his right leg, looks like it could be made entirely of wood from the way he's, the way he's limping off. So he's going to need some warming up, I think, do some stretches. And as Vic pointed out, Siddle has taken off his cap, so he's going to finish off this.
So he's been in the squad. He didn't play up at Warwickshire. So we had the second team game where they won quite comfortably this week. And last week's game was completely rained off, washed out. So actually, Aldridge has bowled only a handful of overs out there. I'm not sure if he's played any club cricket, but he's bowled very little. We're going to use the enforced break for a quick switch up in the commentary box as well. Charlie Taylor's going to step out for a second, and Vic Marks is going to step back in. There's now a debate. There's a negotiation going on between Spencer Bishop and Pete Traeger about the number of eggs that Traeger needs in his omelette for tomorrow. Pete Siddle's back into the attack. He's going to bowl, well, 4 balls of what would have been Casey Aldridge's 9th over. It was his. He started it, pulled up with cramps. So hopefully there were a few smiles. So hopefully Casey is all right. It's nothing too serious. But Siddle, who's bowled 5 overs, 0 for 15, is going to continue to Jennings, who's got 70.
Oh, come on, he's been smacked before.
It's one of those that both fielders chased. Siddle's now looking at the foot marks.
Well, it's ominously sandy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a bit of an issue at Taunton at the moment. Siddle's just, well, like a lot of fast bowlers after they've been hit for 4. I'm not saying it's not perfect out there, but it's a standard reaction. Gus Fraser was one of the best. He just kicked the turf when he'd been hit for 4. Andy Caddick had a go at that too.
I haven't seen Andy Caddick this season yet.
There's 4 more. It's certainly starting to open his shoulders, Keaton Jennings. He's addressing the strike rate issue. No. Well,
Just leant into that one, didn't he? Found the gap. Yeah, Caddick, he's normally around, Caddy. He wasn't here for the first game. I know it was only one day washed out.
that's going to be 4 more. It's an educated glide. So Siddle, he's not enjoying this end, and he's rather wishing that Casey Aldridge was still bowling, I think. He's now having another look at the run-up, and you can see the sand being sprinkled around, or the soil, very light, I don't know if it's soil or sand, but it's sort of dusty, and he's hacking away there.
I suppose it's Jack Leach's end, so it's actually where Jack Leach would start a lot of his work, so it just accentuates it a little bit. 11th boundary of Keaton Jennings' innings. 3 of them have come in the last 3 balls. .196 for 1 then, Lancashire.
Well,
Any chance of, what does Somerset have to do to force their way back into this game?
they've got
Well, yes, but
get a hat-trick, Sam.
is the draw the favourite now, or is it starting to tip in Lancashire's
Well, it's
favour?
certainly, I would rather be in Lancashire's position at the moment. The runs have come so easily. 44 overs, 196 for 1. I think that one was a bit of a bonus in the sense that it was an innocuous delivery that was just flicked off the hip to a kind of leg gully. Leach has been dominated. But that, he didn't bowl badly, you're right. He didn't bowl badly, but they attacked him so well that he's gone at 6 and over. And understandably, he's been removed from the attack. The seamers have got nothing to help them at the moment. It's just a slip. One bowler's gone off, Casey Aldridge. We're hoping it's just cramp, but he's not on the pitch at the moment. So I can't guarantee you a draw because the rate Lancashire is scoring. Where are we now? How many overs remaining tonight? 25, and it looks. It's been quite a nice sort of early spring day. Cloudy, but cold, but dry.
We've been lucky with the weather here.
25 overs. I mean, even if they decelerate, they could still get 100.
Yeah.
I would think draw is still favourite, but there are no guarantees. The game moves so quickly nowadays. And they're just picking off gaps. I mean, that's again, they've got a wide third man, but he's just cleverly guided it fine of him. So Bohannon is progressing in boundaries, latching on to Jack Leach with the sort of vigorous sweep shots. And a little glide down to that third man boundary.
Tom Abel and Gregory just in conversation about whether to move that quite wide third. They know they're going to take Bancroft out of his catching position, which was right in the eye line at a sort of silly mid-off, and Bancroft's gunning that gully region. So catching still, but to also block off that
a bit
free
of
avenue
deterrent of that shot, hopefully, but he might still play it. There's still a gap there for him.
I wonder if Tom Abel, I don't think he is going to bowl. I don't think they're going to risk it. The question is, can Lamond be? If Aldridge is going to be off for any length of time, maybe if it's just cramped, maybe he just finishes off tonight off the pitch and comes back tomorrow.
Yeah, I can't remember whether you get. You have to sort of earn your after
Same
a certain
number.
period of time. You might have to serve a sort of period of detention, as it were.
Yes. So off for 10, back on for 10 before you can bowl, kind of thing.
I think if he wasn't coming back from injury, this is sort of occasion where Tom would say, "Give me the ball, give me the ball." He probably wouldn't get anyone out, but it's not. It's not a good time to bowl. If you're a selfish cricketer, and I'm sure we haven't got any of those, you don't look at the captain at this juncture. Nothing's happening out there. We've got two batsmen who are in control, full of aggression. It's cold.
There's that move. They practice that now these days, rather than trying to collect it off their own bowling. They train to just turn it, just tip it around the post and back onto the stumps, try and catch the non-striker out.
Is that a question or a statement?
Well, that was a statement, I think.
I think we didn't practice it, but we did it.
Did it?
But we didn't practice it.
How
do they do it, though? How do they do that? Work that practice?
Well, you just bash straight balls back, don't you? And you just try
Yeah, but you've got to go through the bowling. You've got to go through the bowling process to do it properly.
Driven beautifully from Bohannon, just lent into that one. It was over pitch from Gregory. There's a fielder in the covers, but couldn't do anything about that. And that brings up the 50 partnership in what's felt like relatively quick time. Yeah, stroke of tea.
Well, it's less. It's better than a run a minute. That's for certain.
50 partnership off, I reckon, 54 balls.
Yeah, well, that's good going. I mean, the problem for Abel is that, in a sense, his banker, who was Leach, he hasn't bowled, as I said, we keep saying he hasn't bowled that badly, but they've attacked him so well that he's had to take him off. And now, especially with a reduced seam attack, he's almost got nowhere to go, and he'll have to bring Leach back on quite soon. I'm not sure Siddle is enamoured of the far end. Doesn't like the footholds there coming in. Jennings is on the attack, and that's it's still a far spread field, but that's beautifully timed. He's found the gap again. There's only one slip, but He's finding gaps all over the place.
It's 4 boundaries in 5 balls Siddle's gone for since coming on at that end. Remember, he came in 2 balls into Casey Aldridge's over. Lovely shot. Conversation now between skipper and Cola Cadmore, I think, who's been at first slip. It's kind of a wide first slip. It's a good bit of work, but I think Jack Brooks hit the back point.
Yeah. I mean, I was just wondering whether that conversation was along the lines of, Tom, I haven't played much cricket with you, but do you by any chance bowl? And I think the answer is no, but I keep wicket now and again. I don't know whether he's. I think he is. Not. He doesn't look 100% actually. He looked a bit ginger after that delivery to Peter Siddle.
That's that fine bit of work by. Is it Jack Leach? In fact, it's Jack Leach, not Jack Brooks, out on the boundary.
Yeah.
He throws right-handed, doesn't he? Which always
right,
confuses me. Good bit of work from Leachy.
I do. I do remember, it's an ancient history, but I remember a game here against Worcester when Ian Botham was playing for Worcester, and they were amassing a considerable total, and he was very keen to get his 100 back at Somerset for Worcester after Pete Rover was captain. And we lost 2 bowlers. Hamstrings or some, you know, there were 2 gone. So we were down to about 3. And inevitably, this was a trigger for me to bowl a long spell. I bowled most of the day from the far end there. But I just remember, I remember running up to bowl and my first over back, as it were, and faking a hamstring just to keep him hobbling up. But I was fine. I didn't pull many hamstring and bowled the rest of the day in Bath. It was a rain-affected game. It was a horrible sort of long draw, probably a 4-day game, I think. And Ian duly got the 100 that he decided he was going to get coming back to Somerset for Worcester. And match drawn, but I did bowl a lot of overs. With a conservative field, I think. And he didn't actually, because he wanted his 100, he just kept patting it for singles, I think. Peter Siddle obviously uncomfortable at that end. He's kicking the turf, having a word, I think, with I think that's Cameron Braincroft, fellow Aussie. I mean, he's 100% try, Peter Siddle, but he's not entirely happy with how things are panning out just at the minute.
He's another one who loves his coffee, Peter Siddle. A lot of the Aussies seem to. I saw him in Nottinghamshire, just come out of I was staying in West Bridgeford, and he was just heading into this coffee shop. And I was already thinking, I'm late. I'm not going to be at work on time. And I saw Peter Siddle going into the coffee shop afterwards, and he was about to go out and bowl. So I figured if he's not on the ground yet, I'm doing all right. But it was his favourite spot from when he spent that year or two up at Trent Bridge.
Oh, he played with Notts as well,
did,
didn't he? I forgot that. I mean, obviously, got used to him playing for Essex before he came here. So he's played a lot of county cricket. And he's been a terrific servant wherever he's played.
Gregory and Rui's up to the stumps. That one, it doesn't help the wicketkeeper at all. They're coming angled around the wicket to the left-hander down the leg side.
He did well to get anything on that.
Don't see keepers up to the stumps very often to Gregory. It's a sign of this pitch. There's a deep square leg, a fine leg, and then Bancroft is not quite a leg slip. It's a wide. It's more a leg gully. Catching. There's still a first slip. Tom Kohler-Cadmore, James Rue behind the stumps, helmet on. I don't know if I've seen anyone stand up to Lewis Gregory previously, actually.
Well, if you had, it would have been Steve Davis, probably. By process of elimination.
Or Joss and Craig, though. Lewis has been around a while now.
I suppose so, yeah. Josh didn't keep that often, of course, for Somerset in Red Bull, though, really.
No.
And the way people bat has changed too. I mean, one of the reasons he's got Rue up to the stumps is just for Jennings, because Jennings is just, with great composure, has just been walking down the pitch more often than not to defend. But it seems to block out so many modes of dismissal. Oh, that's gone for 4. It's a beautifully timed shot again. I mean, the ball is just flying off the bat. And that's sped away. He's timed the ball beautifully, Bohannon, since he's come in.
It's the ease at which he's looked since he's come out there. He's only been out there 45 minutes or so. Already got 27. Having sat there with his pads on for a long, long time, then had to wait until after tea. Into the leg side. He was always annoyed there behind him. His head went straight up. He saw the fielder out there. I think he thought he'd hit that for 4 or at least a couple.
I think he's going to have to bring Jack back.
From the same end, or do you think he tries him at the other end?
I think he'd want to bowl him from the same end, insofar as seams don't like standing up. Siddle is uncomfortable coming in terms of the run-up. Bohannon, though, has exploited the short leg side boundary against Leach, hitting technically against the spin. He might have to just... What Jack does against right-handers is what most spinners do, left-arm spinners, which is bowl very straight. They're bowling initially. The first target for the modern finger spinner against a right-hander is to get him LBW. So you've got bowl straight. Yeah. You've got pitch on. And that's how Jack operates, and it's how just about every left-arm spinner operates. They don't consider bowling, and quite understandably, because the LBW is a big mode of dismissal for Leach. Oh, he's misjudged that, and it's gone for 4. He was beaten there, I think, Bohannon. But it doesn't no matter. He just followed through with the shot. And he's got away with it. It was a slower ball, but he timed it well enough, even though it was a bit of a miss it, to clear it off. Anyway, so one option might be, although it doesn't stop him attacking that leg side, is just to bowl a little bit wider and encourage. I mean, if he might still go for that short leg side boundary, but maybe the risk element is enhanced if it's coming from a little bit wide of off stump. You hope, as a left-arm spinner, that if he keeps slog sweeping, he's going to miss one, and it's going to be straight. And you're in the shout for the LBW, but they don't seem to miss it very often nowadays.
And that's the thing. If he changes end, and I don't think he is, because he was warming up, and he's going to stick with that end, because you turn ends round, and then maybe Bohannon doesn't play that shot because the boundary's much bigger. But actually, what you want him to do is keep playing that shot, I think, to be more attacking.
Well, sort of. I mean, there is an element of gobbledygook about this, and I think I may have been with Charlie in that this notion that spinners really love being attacked because the risk is greater and there are wickets to be had. Well, they say that. They don't often necessarily mean it.
But, okay, right. Jack Leach might not love it, but in the context of this game, where's the bigger chance of a wicket? Probably if you make Josh Bohannon slog sweep towards that massive boundary, he's just going to put the shot away.
Maybe.
And it's going to take either a bit of magic or a mistake to get a wicket.
Well, there is a certain logic to that, but beware the spinner who says, "I love them attacking me. I love it. I love it. I don't mind being hit for 6."
Of course he minds.
It's propaganda. And the other thing that has changed, I think, is that there are people, and Wales look like one today in a way. They look more secure when they're attacking than when they're defending. So there is some virtue in making them defend. The reason, there's a classic example at the highest level, and these are terrific players. But do you remember that sequence in an Ashes when Moen came out and batted against Nathan Lyon? And he was frenetic, absolutely frenetic, and he got out to him. But he'd played some huge shots because he didn't trust his defence. So he felt the only way I can combat him to start my innings is to play some extravagant shots. And he actually did get out, I think. So sometimes there is virtue in having such a defensive or relatively defensive field that they've got to defend because they're not comfortable defending. Less likely to be the case this, where you've just got one slip and no one around the bat. We'll see. Is he going to slog sweep him again? No, he's going to go offside. It's harder. It's much harder bowling finger spinners nowadays than it used to be. I can tell you that much, because players have more shots and they're far more willing to play them. And you need a bit of help. You need a bit of spin. We thought we saw a bit of spin in the first over, but it kind of beguiled us a bit. Oh, didn't quite there.
Just trying to work out who the subfielder is down there. I don't think it's Casey Back.
Where are we?
Down at
Where
deep square. Well, deep point now. Is it Tom Banton or is it George Bartlett? George Bartlett, that is.
Okay.
I was hopeful that it might have been Casey Back, but no.
If he'd play, he'd have a chance of another bowl.
He would. He's warming up. Got a bit of a mullet on him by the looks of things. .48 overs gone, 223 for one to Lancashire, 27 runs short of their first batting bonus point. And they've got plenty of time to go on and
they could get
for 450.
They're going quick enough, certainly, to get maximum batting points.
Well, if they kept going at this pace, they'd get them with 15 overs to spare almost.
Well, that was a very quick calculation. But you're right, I'm sure.
You say things with enough conviction, Vic.
Yeah, I know, and I'm gullible too. But yes.
14 overs it would be, but hence almost 15.
Well, at the moment, it's a case of just finding someone to bowl and hanging on. The one wicket that has fallen was a bit of a bonus, to be honest, off the face of the bat just before tea. Caught on the leg side. Luke Wells, who batted so fluently. And again, he's timing the ball so well. And not only that, but placing it so well too. Every drive seems to elude the fielder at the moment.
Lewis Gregory's reaction, I think, is telling there. He just stopped in the middle of the pitch. I don't know if we'll see it on the replay. He just looks down and kind of goes, he's out of screen. Just stands there and looks and just almost throws his hands up and goes, what can I do? What can we do here? There we go, we'll see it here. Just stares it, and then there we go.
Initially you thought perhaps one of them would stop it, but
stands there.
Wasn't really on the cards.
You and I both stayed silent there, but we just got a little bit excited. We both just went, was that in the air?
No.
And it was all on the floor. You know, the evening's coming when the seagulls are circling around here. They pop out a bit for lunchtime, and they pick up a bit of their food between 1 and 1:40, then they come back late on.
We've reached that rather sad stage as a captain. All you're trying to do at the moment is equitably hand out the punishment. To be sort of fair as you can to the various bowlers. You haven't got many options. He's one bowler short. He's got no occasionals. He's got two 38-year-olds and Lewis Gregory, who's fragile and has played 2 games already.
He's difficult.
And Jack Leach, who's bowling perfectly respectably but getting pummeled. He's got no rabbit to pull out of the hat.
No, it does just how big a miss someone like Craig Overton is for Somerset.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is it's not an easy pitch to bowl on. We kept saying that actually once Rue and Abel got together. In fact, we were saying it probably before they established that stand. It's cold.
Other than that,
Jack Brooks, you know, is not the most nimble mid-off. Peter Siddle, for all his great efforts, is not the most nimble wherever he's fielding. Ooh, and he's just beaten the bat, just kept a bit low.
went underground that, didn't it?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Initially, you thought that's a good sign. Now you're not so sure. Because Somerset are going to have to do some batting in this match.
On the replay, it looks just back of a length, that.
Yeah.
It's gone through below the stumps.
So 21 overs remaining. Oh, look at that. He's just opened the face too. The ball sped away. 4 more. Almost want to take pace off the boy. I mean, Roelof van der Merwe, he's going to come on. Or is he? He's all kitted up. He's not on the pitch yet, but it looks like he's going to... who's that leaving? Is that... I'm not sure.
Might have been Colin Cadmore.
Okay, I'm not sure. But anyway, we've got... Pity he's not playing, really, Van der Merwe. He'd have a bowl now. Yeah. He's having a chat with Jack Leach. How's it going, Jack? Well, not frightfully well. They're having a little chat.
He'll be full of enthusiasm, Ruler.
Well, of course. He's a grand fielder, and I'm sure he'll be out there sort of encouraging one and all. And Jack is just trying to get, just nudging him back a bit deeper at mid-on. Just the forward short leg is the attacking field. It's Jennings, who's played Leach extremely well. Just flicks that away easily for a routine single. Really hasn't turned much since that first over, has it? And it's harder for Leach to get the ball to turn against the right-hander because he's pitching on bits of the surface that there won't be any footmarks.
Jennings on strike then. He's got 97.
Yeah. I think he's happy to get there in singles at the moment, but who knows if he gets the right ball, he'll be looking for the boundary. But he's been feature of the innings against Leach is how easily he's got off strike. He hasn't played many of the exotic sweep shots that we saw, and partly because they've defended those sort of areas. It's going round the wicket now. I feel the pain. Yes. Jack Brooks there, he's bowled probably a dozen overs. He just needed to move to his right. And it wasn't that easy to do so.
Exactly a dozen overs, Vic. Spot on. Who needs computers, laptops?
Now Leach is trying plan C, which is he's going to bowl over the wicket, just outside leg stump to Bohannon. Again, he's encouraging the sweep. He's got 2 men on the boundary, plus a short fine leg. And Bohannon kicks it. Understandably. Probably, you know, you're assessing risk reward again. And you're thinking, I guess you're thinking, at the moment, Bohannon might be thinking, well, I'm not sure the odds are so much in my favour if I go for the sweep shot. There are 2 men out there. I've got to middle it if I go for it. Oh, he's going for it now. It's well fielded.
Very good work, that.
It is a short boundary there, and he's got down very quickly. He hit that pretty hard. So it looks like he will sweep from outside leg stump.
Well outside leg stump.
Yeah. Yeah, Jim, well, this is one that they would be checking manically in an international match to see whether the legs stayed inside. I think they just did. Excellent piece of fielding.
Well, I think I'm going to disappear. Make way for Charlie Taylor. Before I do, though, a quick shout out to Charlotte Vickery, who is running the London Marathon on Sunday. She's one of the young coaches here in Somerset. She won Young Coach of the Year in 2019. Her sister is the disability officer at the Somerset Cricket Foundation, so good luck to her running that for a cricket-based charity as well. Charlie, I'll let you swoop in.
In he swoops. Swooping possibly a little more elegantly than Jack Brooks at the moment. But you've had a more comfortable day, Charlie. Although Jack Brooks, I don't know why I'm singling him out, he is the solitary wicket taker. Here comes Peter Siddle. He's coming from his favoured end. Didn't like it much at the Trescothic end.
I don't know if I should take a bit of offence that you think I'm only potentially more elegant than Jack Brooks at the moment. Although, did have an early morning, so maybe that's...
Well, no,
so that's
absolutely. I mean, you and Jack Brooks have been working like Trojans.
That's
Trojans.
exactly it, yeah. Oh, it's a hard life. Peter Siddle, he'll be really hoping that all this effort comes with some sort of reward.
Oh, he's hit him on the glove.
Yeah, bounced a bit more than Bohannon was expecting there.
Yeah, he's happy at this end, Peter Siddle. He really was unhappy running up.
Yes, yeah.
He was unhappy with the state of the ground just as he was preparing to take off. And there were puffs of soil. I don't think it can be sand exactly, but he wasn't feeling comfortable, so he's come this end. It's his turn. He's only bowled 7 overs. You know, he's got to get up to the 12 mark, and he'll be up for that. But there's not any sign of any movement.
No, it hasn't been really since this innings began. It is this puffs of dusty soil, isn't it? So, wherever the ball lands, but even if you watch the bowlers running in, each step comes a little puff of dust. Yeah, it's fair to say the outfield's not at its best at the moment. We had a struggle getting it ready for that first game.
Well, there's another, I think, is it fortnight? It's Northampton next, isn't it? Here, I'm not sure. I think Somerset might have a bye in the next round, as it were. Not a bye, but they're not playing in the next round. I think
Somerset might be pleased with the bye.
They might do, actually. This match. They won't want to play, the bowlers certainly won't want to play on a surface similar to this next time round.
The next game for Somerset is the 4th Yeah, 4th to the 7th of May.
Here.
Here, yeah, against
Northamptonshire.
Northamptonshire, yeah. And then, bizarrely, they're away at Lancashire.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, so they'll be playing them again on the 11th of May. But yes, that means they've got a week off, haven't they? The round commencing the 27th. Which is a bit selfish, because that's my birthday. And it would
Which
be
one?
nice to come here, 27th. Although it wouldn't have
Of
been here, it would have
April.
been an away game. Yes, yeah.
Well,
I have done it before. I've done days here on my birthday, because it's always at the very start of the season, so it's all very exciting and very fresh. I always feel spent a few birthdays here, but
well, we're better.
exactly. Perhaps a cider farm somewhere in the county would also
Well, you probably
be up there.
you saw him there. Jennings kind of coming down the pitch. It didn't happen so often, but on this surface especially, which is slow, Jennings consistently has just kind of moved down the pitch against the seamers. Not always, but when he chooses to. And very often ended up defending the ball, but he's never missed it.
A very good position here. Lancashire, 237 for 1. A deficit now of 204. With 9 wickets in hand on what is a very flat-looking pitch. So
Well, that's very clever. It's not written on the scoreboard. You just worked that out.
I did, yeah. We've got Jennings on 98, approaching a century. And Bohannon is there on 40, who's looked pretty good. Not too many chances from him either.
No, it's
It's been a day of
timed
few
the ball,
chances, hasn't it?
Timed the ball beautifully from the word go. He's gonna. We'll see. No, Jack Leach. He's now. He's juggling his fielders now.
Brooks
Rudolph
moving.
van der Merwe, very good fielder.
Yeah, is that where Jack Brooks
It's been
was?
sent to a short, fine leg because he can anticipate Bohannon playing some sweet shots and maybe catches going there. Jack Brooks has gone from there to mid-off. Sod's law will dictate it's drilled to mid-off, this ball.
Well, they'll target him, won't they?
Yeah,
Here we go.
there we go.
Go on, Jack, stretch those legs.
Well, we shouldn't mock.
No.
We're not mocking.
No, we're just enjoying one of the.
But, you know, it
joys of
always
the game.
happens, really.
Yeah. And not only did it go to his area, he also
a
was
run.
about as far away as it could be from him.
Yeah.
That would still need bringing in from the boundary.
Yeah.
That would
And-
mean it was his ball to
And
get.
I think we can say that was to whoever was fielding there.
Yes, yeah. I don't think he leaked any runs there. But still, here we go. Let's see what else they managed to do. Oh, not quite this time. Crowd thinning out a bit now.
Yeah.
As people go home. Saw a few school students in about 10 to 4 o'clock-ish, turning up after school. Nice to do on a Friday once they'd finished. First week back for quite a lot of schools in the county. Bit of a wide one from Leach there. Attempted sweep shot and doesn't get hold of
He's
it.
sort of aiming to bowl somewhere around there. Just out, he's aiming to bowl outside leg stump. Possibly going on to hit the stumps, but there'll be bits of Bohannon in the way in all probability. And there he goes with that sweep. He's hit it hard, but he's hit it down. And he's had to scamper to get there. It's such a short boundary, nicely fielded by Lamonby. But he's taken on that sweep shot and he's hit it crisply so far. I mean, that's his likely mode of dismissal. If he mistimes one of those sweep shots as Leach comes over the wicket, encouraging it. But he doesn't look like mistiming one so far. 98 now, Jennings. Leach, he's given him the push drive to mid-on at the moment, as long as he saves 2. Leach himself will be wanting to defend that area, coming round the wicket. Well, he swept it, and that's it. He swept it deftly. I haven't seen many of that. It's beautifully played. He's going to go for 4.
No, he made that look very easy. What a
Yeah.
way to bring up the 100.
And a very measured response, as if this was a routine 100, and it sort of was in a way. He's been prolific in recent times. He's barely missed a ball, and very deftly got to 100 with probably his first boundary off Leach, in fact, and it was just a deft little fine sweep. Inevitably past Jack Brooks.
You had to chase it all the way to the boundary, collect it and bring it back in.
Now,
Oh, he will really be feeling that in his leg. You can see him hobbling around there.
they can't take earpieces out onto the ground, can they?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, they could do. No, Tom, I just moved that bloke a bit square in front of you. In fact, he's
done it. There
he's
we go.
moved.
Did you see your hand movements in the box?
He's moved Jack Brooks a little finer. The slips come out. I mean, this really is just trying to keep some measure of control. There's no one round the bat now. Even so, but there are gaps, and he's just nurdled it nicely around for a single. It's all too easy, and it's an excellent innings from Jennings. As I say, he's barely missed a ball from the very word go. He couldn't keep up with Wells. Wells was the man who assaulted Leach to very good effect. After that first maiden over, he hasn't bowled one since. When he suddenly thought, hang on a minute, he spun it. He spun 2 balls in that first over to Wells. It looked like it could be an ordeal for Wells, and what did he do in the next over? It's kind of changed the whole pattern of the game. Wells reverse swept 2 4s and then a 6. And then he kept us attacking Leach extremely well. Then thereafter, he was inclined to hit him down the ground, using his feet, getting near enough to the pitch, and hitting sometimes along the ground, sometimes in the air, straight back past the bowler. And although Leach embodied bad balls particularly, he had no answer. Very good batting. He changed the whole tempo of the game. In the meantime, Jennings just kept going his way. He was 3 consecutive boundaries off Siddle when Siddle had come on to replace Casey Aldridge, who went off, we think, with cramp as opposed to a hamstring. He completed Aldridge's over, but only after Jennings had hit him for 3 consecutive 4s. Lancashire in control. 4 more.
Another 4. Just looking at the speed at which Jennings has hit that 100. His 50 came up after about 100 balls, so he was going at about 50 strike rate.
Yeah.
But his 100 came up after around about 155 balls, so he actually doubled his strike rate in the second half of his 100. So,
Would you know where that was? He kept hitting it for 4.
that'll do it.
Yes.
Yeah, he accelerated, didn't he?
Yeah. I mean, if there's any width, he's like that ball there. He trusts the pitch, he trusts himself, and he's going for it, and he's middling it. And all the batsmen actually. I mean, Abel and Rue did it yesterday. They've timed the ball beautifully, and they found it's a really good surface at the moment. There's no real pace there, but it just comes on sufficiently well to be able to hit the ball crisply, and the ball sped away.
Yeah, I think that trust is a really good point, isn't it? If you can work out where it's going to pitch, you don't need to worry about what it's going to do there. I can just get into my shot, get into the right position. That makes it very difficult for a bowler then, doesn't it? To sort of intimidate a batter in a way.
Yeah.
To get them thinking twice about each shot, about what the ball might be doing.
Yeah.
Which is part of the game, isn't it? That psychology of the battle between batter and bowler. The bowler's on the back foot. And the pitch is...
I mean, there's been some poor deliveries, but there's been quite a few really perfectly respectable deliveries that have been hit for 4, whether it's Leach or some of the seamers, just a little bit of width. Boom. Away we go.
Say that first batting point's just come up for Lancashire as well. They've reached 250.
With power to add.
9 wickets in hand. Somerset still 2 wickets off just getting a first bowling point.
They've got a few overs to get still. They got
I think they got next. Either Villas or Balderson will make up the next 2, won't they? George Bell, Colin de Grandhomme. And he's a
Yep. Oh, Somerset got
players.
another 60 overs to get those, get some bowling points, but
a lot of runs still
at
to
this
come, I
rate,
think.
at this rate, they won't
Yeah.
get one. Where's he hit that? There was a.
It's running away.
It's not the most graceful shot, but he's timed it well enough and wide mid on. It's a tough time here for Siddle, who's going to have a chat with Abel. Is he? No, he's finished the over. Touch of fingers. Abel's scratching his head. He's got nowhere to go.
Siddle not wearing a jumper. Is he? I'm impressed. If maybe when he's in his in the heat of the bowling, he just doesn't bother. Oh, it's out of the boundary. I see. I thought he'd.
Yeah, he's going to fetch it now. We'll see if he puts it on. I suspect he will. He's got his cap and a sweater there. We'll just monitor whether he actually puts it on. Don't think he's going to. Is he?
Yeah. I was impressed. Otherwise, he looked absolutely frozen earlier on.
Yeah, he is. And that's probably a good idea.
Yeah, looks going to be Leach again. As you say, Abel's really not got too many options here. You haven't got. What have you got? All rounders wise, really only.
No, he's not no bits and pieces. Man. No, unless Lammonby is. But Lammonby, I should imagine, is not.
Well, he's
deemed
well out of
fit.
practice, I think, as well.
I'm watching carefully enough, but I've got a funny feeling that Aldridge might be back. Is he at mid-off? Those legs look pretty long.
Definitely looks like him. Yeah, it does look like him. Which is good news. Doesn't look in too much pain. He certainly looked in pain earlier on.
Or cramp. Ooh, he's gone for the sweep, and this is a nightmare actually for keepers. When the bowler is bowling, and he's got a bit of an edge on, well, a bottom edge, I reckon, on that. It's gone very fine, almost went hit the helmet. He swept. I don't think that was totally intentional to get it so fine.
No.
But you'll take the 4, thanks very much.
Oh, the runs are flowing.
They
Just
are
absolutely
gushing.
flowing here. Yeah, they really are. Thanks to the people on YouTube who say that England selectors see Jennings just as a subcontinent opener. As Leach is in.
Ooh,
This one takes it a
false
leading
shot.
edge. Yeah. And someone's replied to that one saying, well, if they see Jennings as a subcontinent opener, I see Crawley as a subpar opener. Thanks to Lawrence for that one.
Well, there remains the conundrum. I mean, even is that if Bairstow demonstrates that he's back to peak fitness and getting the odd run, how do you get him in?
Well, that is it's so hard, isn't it? Who no one really deserves to be dropped.
Well,
based
the
on
only suspect is John Crawley, but it's a specialist position.
Yeah.
It's still a while to go. There's a match against Ireland, isn't there? Beginning of June.
Yeah. Leach might fancy getting that 100 that he missed out on.
I don't think he'll have another chance to do that. Well, he'll be volunteering for night watchman.
Yeah.
I mean, that match against Ireland was amazing, as if you remember.
It was a heat wave, wasn't it?
Well, it was, but the ball was zipping around all over the shop because England were bowled out for nothing, and then Ireland.
Oh, that's right.
I can't remember which round it was, but it was a very low-scoring first innings scenario, and then Jack steadied the ship in the second innings. But until that, there wasn't a great difference in first innings scores.
No. Try to find the scorecard. Let's
Yeah,
have a
I
look.
mean, I can't remember which way round it was. In the end, it was all very straightforward, but there were moments where Ireland were cock a hoop because the English wickets were falling. I think it's a 4-day match this
It was,
time
wasn't it?
round,
Yeah.
and I think, it was last time, and I think it will be this time.
This was this was before the Ashes of 2019.
Yeah,
England bowled out for 85,
that's right. That's a stat.
and
Well, they
then
batted first.
Ireland
did
bowled out for 207.
they? Oh, right.
England made 303, and then Ireland were bowled out for 38.
There you go. It may have been a heat wave, but it wasn't obviously an absolute belter of a pitch.
It was Ireland were bowled out for 38, and there was only 2 bowlers were used. Stuart Broad bowled 8 overs, and Chris Woakes bowled 7.4.
And how did the wickets share out?
4 for Broad, 6 for Woakes.
Did Leach bowl a ball in the match?
I suspect he did in that first innings. Let's have a look. Here we are. Leach bowled 3 overs in the match, none for 26 with no maidens.
3
So,
26 0.
so his,
But 92.
but he opened for England
Yeah.
and made 92, top scored for England.
Yeah.
From 162 balls with 16 fours.
I forgot it was such a big first innings lead for Ireland. 120. Or, yeah,
Well,
120.
and they must have, at that point you're thinking,
Yeah.
wow, where's box seat. So what do they need at the end then? They need about 180 to win, and they're bowled out for 38. Yeah, what a game.
So they were important. It was an important 92.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the only other person who came close in the England Test side was Jason Roy, who we don't
right.
really think of as being a Test player these days. He made 72.
So they must have collapsed again, England, in the second innings.
Yes, the top score other than that was 37 for Sam Curran.
Right. Oh, well, they can have another go. I think they'll be probably hoping for a slightly more batsman-friendly surface this time round.
Gosh, the team has changed so much. This England side was
Has it?
Burns, Roy, Denley, Root, Bairstow, Ali, Woakes, Curran, Broadstone, Leach. I realise there's some injuries here,
Yeah, yeah.
but that top order, Burns, Roy, Denley,
That's gone.
all gone.
Johnny
That was-
Bairstow played as was keeping.
Captain was Root, of course.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
Oh, well.
lots of changes in the batting lineup. Here comes Siddle. No threat there. In amongst us looking at that scorecard, we've missed Josh Bohannon's 50, so half century.
Well,
for him.
he's currently faced 60 balls.
Going along though, good.
It was yeah. No one noticed really. I don't know if he. I don't know. It was so obviously going to happen.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like
taken for
particularly.
granted, I'm afraid.
No. Yeah, this is one of those passages of cricket where, I mean, this game could build to a
Yeah.
fantastic, one of those games where the first inning sort of they wipe their faces, both the teams.
Well, as things stand, you would anticipate
Or there'll be a lead for.
that Lancashire could get a really substantial lead. There's still 2 and a bit days left. 262 for 1. I mean, the way the innings has gone, without wanting to alarm home supporters, Lancashire should have a 200 first innings lead, unless something happens. No, 25 overs before the new ball comes in. And that's not guaranteed to do anything.
Yeah, the signs are ominous.
But it can change. It can change a little flurry of wickets. But Wells, Jennings, Bohannon have timed the ball beautifully. They've purred along. And Somerset have, well, they've struggled. I mean, they haven't bowled disgracefully at all, but they've been outplayed, dominated, first by Wells, and then, in a sense, more clinically by this pair, who've just cruised along, picking up boundaries almost at will. Field is spread. There's no one around the back for Jennings now, who, in a very sort of understated way, has taken control of Jack Leach. He hasn't gone for many exotic shots, but he's just flicked the odd boundary, but got off strike easy as anything. Of course, he did get that triple century not so long ago against Somerset. He's gone for the reverse sweep now, and he's got it fine, but only for one.
Comment from Pat, who says, Vic, you are alarming the home supporters.
Oh, sorry. Well, it's best to prepare yourself. I don't want you having a sleepless night. But from 263 for one.
Well, and this is what the team should be talking about, isn't it? Actually, you can't just let it drift. You can't just allow these.
Yeah.
But what
he's run out of options. That's the trouble. And he's gone for the sweep, and it's gone for four. He's bisected. He hits it so hard. I mean, it's only a little more than a 50-yard boundary on that square leg region in front of the Somerset stand. And he's gone down. He's swept. There are two men stationed. Neither moved. Looked like they didn't see it. I can guarantee I didn't see it.
it was well timed. Flew to the boundary. Well, the fielders just watched it and knew there was no point.
You're trying to pretend you saw it as well.
I watched the fielders watching it. I could see where their eyes were. The ball itself was moving very quickly across the turf.
And that's going to be four more.
Yeah.
That's the gimme ball, really. He's dragged it down, and Bohannon, like a lot of, he's not tall at all. He's probably 5'6", 7". All those sort of players, they're quick onto the back foot. That wasn't exactly a cut shot, but it was a back foot drive, wide of extra cover. And given that Leach is aiming really to bowl just outside leg stump, the line wasn't quite right, and it was a little bit short, and he's punished him. I think Jack said, well, why don't you try and hit that? It was a touch of a leading edge, but I think he was saying, why aren't you hitting that one over mid-wicket? He's a bit exasperated, Jack.
Yeah.
He's got the 100 up in the 17th over.
Yeah. It was expensive first up for those who are joining us late on in the day, perhaps after a busy week at work. He was sort of taken apart a bit, wasn't he, by Luke Wells earlier on? Just dispatched to all parts of the ground, not the reverse sweeps, and then when they plugged that gap in the field, down the ground. And it hasn't exactly dried up since Luke Wells got out either.
No, but it hasn't, after that first over, he hasn't got much to deviate.
Well, it was exactly what you said, wasn't
it? You have to give credit to the way Lancashire have attacked him, and it's completely undermined any strategy Abel might have, because on this sort of surface you were thinking that Leach would bowl a lot of overs at one end, and if nothing else would give him some control, and then he could rotate his seamers. It's four more. It just flies to the boundary. It's just slightly offline, and they're just missing nothing. He's had nowhere to go. So, I mean, offer Somerset 5 points for the draw, alongside their 3 batting points, and who knows, a bowling point at 2. Yes, please. I'm afraid.
Big shaking hands already, I think.
Well, no, I mean, they won't take it.
No, they wouldn't.
I tell you what, they will regret, actually, as the way this game has panned out, actually, I suspect. And we talked about it a bit yesterday. They will probably think, actually, Matt Parkinson would have been quite a handy option on here.
In the same way Somerset.
A slow leg spinner with runs on the board, runs to play with. It hasn't worked out like a stock April match where you think the seamers are going to dominate. This pitch has got Browner, hasn't misbehaved, and therefore the slow leg spin of Matt Parkinson, who would have yielded, no doubt, quite a few runs. Nonetheless, might have been handy in this as the game gets to the third and fourth day. Anyway, that's a hypothetical that has no answer to it.
I think we'd have sort of 4 or 5 spinners in a team, wouldn't you, really?
Well, I mean, it's not easy
Spinners
bowling
using-
spin on here. Look at
No,
the
no, it's not.
scoreboard. It's not easy at the moment, it seems, whatever you bowl.
Yeah, the
In part because of the brilliance of the batsmen, but they've made it look so easy. It'll have been better at this end. Still charging in and, well, just hoping for a blemish, really, from the batsman.
Yeah, that's what the wicket was, wasn't it? A mistake from the batter, just gifting a wicket to Somerset. Wasn't a particularly good ball from Jack Brooks. So.
No. I mean, that's how most wickets fall, actually. It's more wickets fall from batsman error than unplayable balls, I think,
I
by
always,
and large.
generally speaking, I don't do it very often. It's defended again. I don't do it very often, but when I play tennis,
Yes.
I always think, just get the ball back over the net. Let them make the mistake.
Yes.
I don't try and do anything clever. I just think I'm not nowhere near good enough. So I'm just going to let them.
What a humble approach.
That's what I try and do
And you obviously win.
all the time. Never lost a game. No, I don't. I don't play
Well,
often enough. So.
I mean, it's the lower the standard, the better that policy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And we're not talking about a low standard here.
No.
But actually, I'm not going to throw down the gauntlet. But that's sort of how I play tennis too.
Don't try and do anything fancy. Don't try and beat them anywhere.
No,
Just let
no.
them
They'll
get
make
it
a
back over
mistake.
and let them make the mistake. That's how
Yeah.
I. That's how I always
It's not
think.
pretty,
No.
but it does sort of work.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I'm generally not good enough to
It's
get
boring
it back over
though,
the
isn't
net. I mean, it doesn't need to excite. I don't think the spectator would enjoy it, but luckily I don't think I've ever
no,
had.
but I don't suppose you're burdened by that.
No, I don't have to worry too much. There's no paying spectators for anything.
Well,
It's a sport that I play.
hang on. Who's this coming on to bowl? They've just
It's going to be
remembered.
Lammonby, is it? 15? Yep. Tom Lammonby.
I think
Well,
they
this is
can-
interesting.
Well, it is, but it's weird if this is insofar that it's weird, but for this reason that if he's fit to bowl, it's strange he hasn't bowled before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How many overs left in the day? 12 overs left, so
Yeah.
he might get a 6-over spell, I guess.
Well, I think that's a lot for someone who hasn't bowled much.
Well, yeah, that's right.
But I mean, all I'm saying is that the options have appeared so barren for quite a while that it's very late for the bowler of the last resort to be brought on. Anyway, he's going to have a bowl.
So do we think Aldridge is currently sort of frozen out of the match for a bit
I
until
don't know. He's out there chatting to Lammonby at mid-off, and we didn't monitor exactly how long he'd been off. Having said that, if Lammonby is fit to bowl, I think he's as good an option as anyone, just out of curiosity. And slightly, well, he bowls left-handed.
Well,
of
he's a
course.
left armer, isn't he?
He's coming round the wicket.
Yeah. You never know.
Not a great delivery to start with, however.
I'm willing to give him a loosener, I think, after however long it's been since he
He's hit it well.
was bowled.
It's quite dark now, actually. We can still see some blue sky in front of us, but there's always that telltale shadow coming from the players when the shadow's coming from the floodlights rather than the sun. And there's 4 little shadows alongside each player, which sometimes signals to the umpire that it's getting dark. But, I mean, batsmen seem to be seeing it pretty well.
Yeah, I think they can make too much of a complaint.
Oh, he's gone for 4, but that was a nick.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Second ball from Tom Lammonby, and that's the first genuine, proper, edgy chance of I think we've seen pretty much all day, certainly since Lancashire started their
Yeah,
innings.
it went quickly, and it went through a kind of second stroke, third slip. But I think he thought the odds were with me, Bohannon. So he launched at the ball, but it was racing through at a catchable height just to the right of Coley Cadmore, I think.
I'm going to
So,
make way.
2 balls, 4 runs, 8 runs, 1 half chance. Well, not half chance. Oh, that wasn't totally convincing either.
Doesn't look too bad, does he, Tom Lammonby, given it's been
Well,
probably
well,
6 or 7 months since
it's
he was
3
last.
balls.
Yeah, yeah. No,
2 of which have gone for 4.
well, maybe I'm doing it by my standards, where our first game of the season, I'm
Yeah. No, I mean, he
Barely-
would be beneficial to the side if he was fit enough to bowl and in a certain amount of rhythm.
Well, he and Tom Abel both are useful just for 3 or 4 overs here or there, aren't they?
Yeah, well,
I'm going to make way while Sam Dowling comes in to join you for probably the remainder of this day, the second day of this game. So I'll say goodbye. Thanks for having me. I'm not back on this match, so I shall see you
All
at
right,
some
well,
point.
cheers, Charlie. Thanks for popping in. And I hope the rest of your day
Isn't
your
too long,
dull
is
day is fun.
Bed
I think you
schooling.
can have a lie down. Now. You're allowed to have a little lie down. Well, the Lammonby experiment so far is proving a little bit costly, to say. Here's Sam.
We spent so long calling for Lammonby,
Yeah.
not just this season, but last season as well.
Well, he's gone for 15 so far. Was there a no ball thrown? I feel like he's bowled more than 6 balls, but
Yes, there was.
there was a no
yeah.
ball. Yeah.
Bowled 6 already. 2 boundary 4s and then a 4,
Yeah.
which was a no ball and a 2.
Right. Was the 4 and no ball the one that nicked? What went through slip, Gordon, or not? Doesn't matter.
You caught, I was in the crossover, Vic. Sorry.
Yeah. I was in the doldrums. It's quite dark now, but umpires don't look as if they're hunting out their light meters.
And the floodlights have been on most of the day. It's weird because of the angle. It looks like they're not all on from where we're sat, but they actually are. We just can't see them as the camera's on, and you get the side on. So actually, they are all on. It's slightly
They've
strange.
become a. How long, I don't know how long we've had the lights here, but about 4 or 5 years, maybe 6.
Good question. I remember the days with the Sky. They used to come for the day-night
Yeah,
game
I
for
mean-
Norwich Union League. They'd bring them in on Sky, wouldn't
Yeah,
they?
but the permanent ones.
Yeah.
They've become a feature of the town now. You know where you are. You see them in the train.
It's lovely, isn't it?
That's where the ground is.
Charlie Taylor's packing up, is he? Maybe not. He's had a long day, Charlie Taylor.
Well, he kept telling me the alarm went at about 4 o'clock, so we have got to have pity on him, I suppose.
That's only 14 hours ago, Charlie. That's just an average day, isn't it, for most people? Jack Brooks just going through his action a couple of times with Peter Siddle. Vic's turned to Charlie with a big smirk on his face. I wonder what's coming here.
No. I know. BBC like their pound of flesh. And you've earned it today, although not entirely for the BBC, of course, but...
It's going to be another boundary, that.
Yeah, I don't know whether that's... It's leg buys. I think if the light was offered... They don't offer the light anymore, of course. If they did, Somerset would take it. Like,
Oh, yes.
absolutely. Oh, he hasn't got one out there, so that's a terrific piece of fielding. Except, there's an overthrow, but that's not the fielder's fault. He's very quick to seize upon that. And 300 bonus point.
2 overs gone.
Somerset have 3 bonus points, Lancashire have
So that's
5 and
in
over.
excess of 5 and over.
Plugs into his 13th over. Leach. Wow, his economy rate has at least been eclipsed by Lammonby's, who's 16th.
Well, yeah.
Gregory's
Run
been
over.
quite expensive, 5.67.
Who's been the most economical? Brooks probably against.
Spot on, 3.49 Brooks.
Yeah. It's not used to you.
He's just holding his back or rubbing his back. Hopefully just a little bit of stiffness.
There's a week off next week.
If, wow, yes, that's true.
This is where I think it's quite important if you happen to be at the ground and you're Josh Davey or Craig Overton, you're in the dressing room. Best not to be too cheerful when they all come in.
Best not to be there at all, I would suggest. What you don't want is Craig Overton grinning, saying, "Oh, a bit flat out there, isn't it,
Yeah.
lads?"
Oh, what sort of effort was that?
They're batting superbly here, Lancashire as well.
Well, there's a rare bouncer. That's the virtue of being a dot ball.
My word, is Josh Bohannon on 73 already?
Yeah, I mean, he's only faced 80 balls.
And he really is. He's looked classy as well, doing it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the situation has been favourable, but he timed the ball right from the word go. Umpires are having a chat. Because I presume it works the same in Championship cricket as it does in a test match, that you kind of set a standard and they're going off. Much to the disappointment of Lammonby, who's about to embark on his second over.
Do you mean that, Vic?
I think once you go off about this time of day, although you'll know better, you boys, you can't really come back on, can you?
Is this
Quarter
like
past
going to
6.
improve at any point?
Well, no, but once you get to 6:15, which is
Ah.
past the sort of official close, I would have thought that's curtains, isn't it?
Polly's not got her earpiece in.
Okay. Anyway, the players are leaving the field, and they're leaving it slowly. It's been a chastening 59 overs for Somerset. I mean, they got themselves right back into the game with that partnership. I mean, we did mention yesterday that there's a lot of runs out there. I didn't think there'd be quite this many quite so quickly. 441 Somerset got, which seemed quite a large score at the time.
Did, felt it.
Doesn't seem quite so big now. 302 for 1. Jennings has raced to 124. You can begin to understand how he got 300 against Somerset at Southport last year, because once he gets going, it's not exactly mechanical, but it's methodical. It's calculated. He's timed the ball beautifully. He's barely missed a ball in defence or attack. And he's been the rock. Brilliant innings, actually, from Wells. He didn't get his 100, but he changed the whole tempo of the game. After that, it was a fascinating little period of play, the best of the day, probably. That first over from Leach to Wells. One delivery, turned, came through the gate, went over middle and leg. Another one sort of squeezed, eked between bat pad, having touched both perhaps, and dribbled towards the stumps. An opening maiden from Leach. Wells looked ill at ease. There seemed to be a semblance of turn coming out the rough outside his off stump. And then what happened next over? Well, Wells had a quick think in between overs. 3 reverse sweeps, 2 of which went for 4, 1 went for 6. And the whole tempo of the game changed. Because 10 minutes before, you thought, at last Somerset have a way to attack. And there's a prospect of something happening. And then in the next few overs against Leach, Leach didn't bowl rubbish by any stretch. but Wales decided that defence was not necessarily the best method. Those reverse sweeps got the field change. They had to protect that area. And when they did that, he kept coming, though. He decided to hit him straight. And he seldom missed. He had a huge six that hit one of the windows in the executive boxes of the Lord in Botham stand. So those who are familiar with Taunton would know that that's quite a long way. Other straight drives pummeled to the boundary. And so he dominated Leach, and he took a danger man kind of out of the game, although Leach had to keep bowling because Abel was running out of options. So that changed the whole tempo. It was a big surprise when he got out just before tea, off the face of the bat. He flicked the ball to square leg, and Brooks got a solitary Lancashire wicket. And Brooks has probably been the pick of the bowlers, but not through brilliance, but being a little bit more reliable, a bit more accurate than some of the others. He's got 1 for 45. Gold dust.
There's not been anything. Even in that first innings we watched yesterday, and there were a couple of edges that just didn't quite carry to slip. There's been none of that. Something not that I can remember. Not a chance gone down.
No.
Not really any edges that have gone through vacant slip areas.
Not really, until one went through Lammonby just now. But that's, you're right. I mean, the only time I can recall Gregory in his opening spell going past the outside edge a couple of times to the left-handers, just a couple of times.
Yeah.
And we weren't quite sure some of the time whether they were playing or not, but I think he did genuinely beat the bat 2 or 3 times with that new ball. Brooks was on target, but not really beating the bat. And all the top 3, the 3 batsmen we've seen, have looked in princely form. Out came Bohannon after tea, and I think he got off the mark with a slog sweep 6.
He did.
Against Leach. You need to be confident to do that. There's a short boundary, but you still need to be confident to hit it properly and clear it. And he's purred along effortlessly, as has Jennings. So, well, 2 days to go. There's a lot of cricket to be played in this match. You can't rule out a flat wicket draw, but you can't rule out a Lancashire victory at the moment. It goes, I think it probably, if you were a betting man, which I'm not really, what's the order you'd go? I think if you're feeling confident as a Somerset player, you go draw, Lancashire win, and now the real outsider, I'm afraid, is Somerset win. But there's not much difference between the draw and the Lancashire win. I don't know what you think, Sam.
I think it completely depends on the Somerset top order.
Well, yes, of course it does.
But I think Lancashire will still quite fancy it. Because of
once
that
you
Somerset
get,
top order.
we saw what happened actually in that Warwickshire game. It turned out to be a 3-day game. Warwickshire got the first innings lead of over 100. I think I'm right in saying. And Somerset had to bat 2 and a bit sessions, and they needed actually Lammonby on that occasion to get to safety. They got there, but they were 5 or 6 down. I think it was Lammonby and Overton there at the end, and that was more sort of last day pressure than the wicket starting to misbehave. This is a flatter pitch, but I think the first innings lead could be a lot bigger, and there's still 2 days to go.
Yeah, and the Warwickshire declaration came a little bit too late for me in that game as well. I don't think they accelerated. I think Warwickshire, knowing Somerset's slight worries at the top of the order, could have pushed on and declared a little bit earlier. It's going to be interesting. And the key, we haven't mentioned him, but Jimmy Anderson has been 11 wickets in 2 days. He's got
6 of them.
5 of them.
Yeah.
And actually, we thought he bowled well those couple of spells this morning and yesterday morning. But then actually, when you look at what the others have done and managed to get out of this pitch, it just takes it up another level than what Anderson has done on this.
Yeah, that's right. Because there have been spells where Anderson's looked certainly mortal. But he's also the man who's found the edge, got the LBW, conjured the wicket. I suppose the draw is the favourite at the moment, but you can't take anything for granted. There's still about 200 overs to be bowled, because there'll be a long day tomorrow. If we've lost, it might be a long, slight make-up at a time, I don't know. Umpires are obviously, the game is not off because the umpires are still out there. So I can only assume that they could theoretically come back on. It still doesn't look like it's going to change a great deal. But they are loitering, and I don't know how long they loiter to. Perhaps it's 6:30 will be. If they're not playing at 6:30, I think they've got to go.
Yeah, Polly's next door. I'm just trying to catch her eye.
That feels
See
about
what-
right.
Yeah, it does.
That's my guess. That they're dutifully waiting till 6:30, and then they'll say, "Well, that's it. We don't consider coming back now."
Polly's animated, and now she tried to mouth something to me.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, you
she's
could-
tried to.
Well, can't you lip read, Polly?
I couldn't. She's then written down something. Guess what she's written?
I don't know.
Bad light.
well, that's fair enough.
It's fair. It's fair. She's now writing something in fairness to it.
I think she'll say they can't play if they're not playing at 6:30.
I think
It's good night.
if Polly turned that little desk lamp that she's got on permanently, we might get back out there. That could be the difference maker.
It's only a red light, that one, though, isn't it?
Oh, is
It's
it?
the one which lets the umpires know they've got.
I didn't know it was a red bulb.
Oh, to register the signals. They just wave.
There we go. They're not allowed to call it off until no more play possible
Oh dear.
after allotted time. 6:30. There we go.
6:30.
So Vic, you were absolutely right. So they can't call it off until 6:30.
Okay, that's
10
9
minutes.
minutes away. Okay.
Wow.
So what are we going to talk about for 8
Well, it's
minutes?
a good question. I was just looking for a signal as to whether we were staying on or
Well,
coming off.
I mean, theoretically, play is still possible, but I think this is where cricket. It is not stupid, but it's sort of absurd. That
Common sense is lacking sometimes.
We hang around until the clock ticks to 6:30. Given that there's no great breeze, that the clouds are fairly low, we've been lucky really to escape any rain at all. But once that clock ticks to 6:30, and the standard has been set, they've looked at their light meters, they've read whatever the figure is, and that's the figure now for the rest of the match, which will ensure that if the light gets dark and it reaches that figure, then off they go. Doesn't matter theoretically if there's 10 to win. Hang on a minute, they're moving with some purpose now. However,
It started
towards the pavilion.
raining. Polly's gesticulating. She's put her headphone set in.
She's
She can
found
hear
some
us.
rain.
She's found some rain. Polly has decided that she wants to go home.
And well, she's not alone there. And the groundsman's taken the stumps out. Can't be raining that hard because there's hardly rushing on to put the covers on.
Or maybe Somerset have said, well, just leave them off for a...
Have Lancashire declared?
minutes.
No, they haven't. But I think the umpires. I mean, it's not been warm. They're moving gingerly towards the pavilion. They could do with something to warm them up. Actually, you feel for them. You should feel for them as much as any of the players. They can't. They're not even allowed to run around really.
What have they been wearing around their necks, Vic?
Snoods.
Ah.
Must get one. Harry will bring me one, whatever it is.
I think that's probably then
Yeah.
time for us to say goodbye. Now we've got one more message from Polly. Stumps are out.
Yep. Okay.
Like-
And so am I.
Well, I
Let's
think
get out of
that's
here.
our cue to go. Thank you very much for joining us all day. We had Charlie Taylor alongside
Yep.
Vic Marks
Go and lie down, Charlie.
and myself. Thank you very much, as ever, to WPA Health Insurance for helping us bring you the live stream. We thoroughly enjoyed our day up here. Hope you have too. Brilliant to have all your comments in the comments box on YouTube. We do try and engage with them when we can. So until tomorrow, have a nice evening. Hopefully we get a warmer day tomorrow to come down and enjoy some cricket.